name's Andrew.
And this is Brian.
And I'm Kath.
Welcome to ABC Paddlers.
On this adventure we'll be using Nicholson Guide number 6 and what 3 words as usual. Hagg Bridge lies between York and Market Wheaton, and we'll be paddling from Hagg Bridge all the way along to Melbourne.
So this is adventure number 6 on the Pocklington Canal. Kath's just down here by Hagg Bridge getting a what 3 words location point for us. Brian's here ready. We've just got to put the skeg on and then we'll launch Brian just down here under Hagg Bridge, and we're heading down the Pocklington Canal towards Melbourne in that direction. We've parked just up beyond this little culvert here in front of me. There's a little lay-by there, probably big enough for 3 or 4 cars, and we portaged, carried Brian across here, just up here over the bridge, and we are about to put Brian into the water.
Pocklington Canal dates back to 1814, but by the 1930s, early 1930s, commercial traffic had ceased to use it, and since then the Pocklington Canal Amenity Society has done some sterling work in restoring it to its former glory for the likes of pleasure craft, etc.
This trip on the Pocklington This trip on the Pocklington Canal is a little bit interesting. We've got an awful lot of vegetation, as you can see here, which we're having to fight our way through, and it's getting clogged on the skeg and making our passage a little bit sticky in places. Kath's doing her very best, but we're actually not actually moving forward at all. She might as well be whistling in the wind, so I'm going to have to put the camera down because otherwise we'll end up going backwards. And we'll try and get through this and report back when we get to Melbourne.
Well, this is a gorgeous paddle as we just pass a family of swans. We're keeping right to the side because the cygnets aren't that old, but we pass them with no real problems. And looking out over the marshland there, we usually see a heron, and on this trip that's exactly what we saw. You'll see a heron very shortly fly off across the top of the marshes there. One of the things about this particular paddle on Pocklington Canal was that the water was so clear. Well, in fact, let me show you. Although this clip doesn't actually show you any fish, the canal is teeming with fish, which is possibly why it's designated as a site of special scientific interest.
Yeah, so we're now approaching Gardam Lock on the Pocklington Canal, heading from Hagg Bridge towards Melbourne. That's not Melbourne, Australia, that's Melbourne in North Yorkshire. Not quite sure how we're going to portage. There's obviously a portage point here that we might be able to get out of. The lock itself, the banks look quite high, so we'll probably have to do a recce up there and then I guess come back and portage from this bank here. But we'll see.
So this is the first time that we used the ropes to get Brian out of the water. It probably wasn't the most ideal location because of the jetty, and as you can see, Brian actually ends up going under the jetty. And bear in mind, this was the first time we've done it, so hopefully our technique will improve.
Really?
So on the other side of the lock, when we used the ropes to get Brian back in the water, it was a lot easier than the poles had been. And we could hold him steady while we were getting in. Again, hopefully our technique will improve with more practice.
So we're sitting in the sunshine at the Melbourne arm of the Pocklington Canal, which is just a short part of the canal which just drops into Melbourne village. Unfortunately today there's nowhere open.
The Melbourne Arms pub is closed on Mondays, and also it seems to open from 4 o'clock, so if you're planning on a trip up here, do check the opening times before you visit.
But it's so peaceful and quiet here. We've just tied Brian up over there, and I don't know if you can make out, but this little section of the canal is teeming with fish. It's probably difficult to tell with the camera, but there's hundreds and hundreds of small fish perched by the looks of it. And we're now going to head back down towards Hagg Bridge where we started. So this is on the way back now down to Hagg Bridge on the Pocklington Canal, and this is bridge number 5.
A little bit of Monica in my life. A little bit. Oh no, that's Mambo number 5.
Yes, that's Mambo number 5, yeah. Not bridge number 5. Well, this is the last one before we put Brian into hibernation. We've got Christmas looming up in a few weeks' time, and we thought we'd take the opportunity to have a mulled wine on Brian's last trip in 2022, and also take the opportunity to thank all of you guys who've viewed our little adventures, everyone who's subscribed to our channel. We do really appreciate your support, and we'd just like to say Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll see you next year. Cheers.